There have been moments in your life when you were pure awareness. No concepts, no thoughts like I am aware or that is a tree or now I am meditating. Just pure awareness, openness, a spacious quality in your existence. Perhaps it happened as you walked on the beach when the sound of the ocean washed away your thinking mind, until all that remained was the walking, the feeling of your feet on the sand, the sound of the surf, the warmth of the sun on your head and shoulders, the breeze on your cheek, the sound of the seagull in the distance. For that time, your image of yourself was lost in the totality of the moment. You were not clinging to anything. You were not holding on to the experience. It was flowing through you, around you, by you, in you. At that moment, you were the experience. You were the flow. There was no demarcation between you, sun, ocean, sand. You had transcended the separation that thought creates. You were the moment in all its fullness. Such moments are the essence of meditation. Hello, my name is Ramdas, and I'm going to share with you some of the ways of increasing the meditative moments in your life. Everyone has had such experiences. It is in these moments of your life that there is no longer separation. There is peace, harmony, tranquility, the joy of being part of the process. In these moments, the universe appears fresh. It is seen through innocent eyes. It all begins anew. Meditation is one vehicle for awakening to this kind of experience. You can begin your journey of awakening by finding a meditation method that feels right for you, at least for now. I'm going to start out by discussing in more depth why people meditate. After that, I'll describe several different approaches to meditation and lead you through some exercises to help you sample them. Then I'll talk about some of the changes you can expect to go through as you move along your chosen path. And from time to time, I'll be sharing words from spiritual leaders who have inspired me on my journey. If you stay with one or more of the practices I describe, your whole life could become a meditation in action. Then all of your acts would be part of the flow of the universe. Why meditate? To live in the moment, to dwell in the harmony of things, to awaken. In the Dhammapada, a text of Buddhist teachings, it is said, all that we are is a result of what we have thought. Consider awakening on a usual morning. You come out of sleep, focus enough to think alarm clock, and reach over to turn it off. Your thoughts might go something like this. It's time to get up. I have to go to the toilet. It's warm in here. Do I smell coffee perking? I could still sleep for 10 more minutes. Ooh, I forgot to do the dishes last night. God, I need to go to the toilet. Gee, my mouth tastes awful. I could still sleep for 10 more minutes. What was I dreaming about? Who was that person in my dream? I wonder if it's warm outside. Boy, am I hungry. What's that sound in the other room? I really need to go to the toilet. God, I wish I could stay in bed all day. Thought after thought with the rapidity of a trip hammer. Thoughts about what you hear, what you taste, what you smell, what you see, what you feel, what you remember, what you plan. On and on they go, a raging, roaring river of thoughts pouring through you. Think of me, think of me, think of me, me first, think of me. And so it goes all day until you go to sleep. You are totally in the control of your senses and thoughts. The alarm sounds and captures your attention, draws your awareness to it. But you are not your ears hearing the clock. You are awareness attending to your ears hearing. It's like when you're reading something so absorbing that you fail to hear someone enter the room. The sound of their steps triggers the processes of hearing, yet you do not hear, for you're busy reading and thinking. Just as you are not your ears hearing, you're not your other senses either. You're not the eyes seeing, the nose smelling, the tongue tasting, or the skin feeling. Only your thoughts are left. Here is where most people cannot escape, for they identify totally with their thoughts. They are unable to separate pure awareness from the thoughts that are its objects. Meditation allows you to break this identification between awareness and the objects of awareness. Your awareness is different from both your thoughts and your senses. You can be free to put your awareness where you will, instead of it being grabbed, pushed, and pulled by each sense, impression, and thought. Meditation frees your awareness. A being whose awareness is totally free, who does not cling to anything, is liberated. Of course, we need the matrix of thoughts, feelings, and sensations we call the ego for our physical and psychological survival. The ego tells us what leads to what to avoid, how to satisfy our desires, what to do in each situation. It does this by labeling everything we sense or think. These labels put order in our world and give us a sense of security and well-being. With these labels, we know our world and our place in it. Meditation raises the question, who are we? If we are the same as our ego, then if we set aside the structure of ego and leave it behind, we shall cease to exist. If, on the other hand, we are not exclusively what the ego defines us to be, then the removal of the ego's filters may not be such a great threat. It may actually mean our liberation. But as long as the ego calls the shots, we can never become other than what it says. Like a dictator, it offers us paternalistic security at the expense of our freedom. You may ask how you could survive without your ego. Don't worry, it doesn't disappear. We can learn to venture beyond it, though. The ego is there as our servant. Our room is there. We can always go in and use it like an office when we need to be efficient, but the door can be left open so we can walk out. Initially, most people choose to meditate out of curiosity or to relieve psychological pain, to increase pleasure or enhance power. The goal of all these motives is to strengthen the ego. For as the ego gets more comfortable, happy, and powerful, its prison walls thicken. The ego's motives do not allow examination of the ego itself, nor allow insight that the ego is your prison. These motives paradoxically contain the seeds of freedom, because they lead you to meditate more. Meditation makes you more calm and quiet. And in this new stillness, other motives, deeper motives, arise for going further into meditation. As your meditation develops beyond the level of ego payoff, the prison walls begin to crack. The game of awakening is very subtle. At first, you may buy the package of meditation because you're nervous, anxious, uptight. You want to get rid of all your pain and have a little pleasure out of life. But you really don't know what you're buying. They say, meditate and you can have a Cadillac. But they don't tell you that when you get the Cadillac, it's liable to feel a little irrelevant. By the time you get to the Cadillac, who it was that wanted it isn't around anymore. See the predicament? Meditation changes your desires in the course of fulfilling them. While at first you were motivated only to maximize your pleasure, you're now faced with what lies beyond pleasure and pain. Enlightened beings have always said that clinging to any experience or possession that is in time causes suffering. for everything changes. Both pleasure and pain are in time. To fully escape suffering, you must seek what lies beyond the polarities of pleasure and pain, beyond time. Meditative awareness is a vantage point from which you can focus on any event from various levels of reality. Take, for example, your relationship with your parents, spouse, or children. Most relationships are very reactive. Your parent comes along and says something to which you immediately react, and the parent in turn reacts to you. These are habitual reactions, in which nobody really listens. There's merely a mechanical runoff between people. But if you are rooted quietly in your awareness, there is space. In the moment after your mother or father speaks to you, you see the reaction you would usually make, but you also see the situation in a variety of other ways. You might see that your parent is in fact your parent only in this incarnation. From another level, like you, your parent is just another soul running off karma, living out the results of his or her past actions. You are part of each other's karma. To appreciate this allows you to understand your dialogue in terms of cause and effect. Or you might understand it from other vantage points, in Freudian terms, or as a power struggle, or a symptom of the generation gap. Or perhaps your parent simply has a stomachache. Or you might see this dialogue as God talking to God. Once you begin to get this new perspective on what you experience, your motives for continuing to meditate become deeper. You aren't meditating just to relieve pain or increase pleasure. You might think of these deeper motives in many ways. To answer the question, who am I? To awaken cosmic consciousness. To see things just as they are. To rend the veils of illusion. To know God, to tune to the harmony of the universe, to gain more compassion, to reach in turn a higher consciousness, to become liberated, to be born again, to know the truth which lies beyond dualism, to transcend the wheel of birth and death, to abandon desire, to be free. These motives all describe the same mountain peak from different points at its base. They all express a single desire, to escape the prison of ego. Tabriz, the Sufi poet, said, "From the moment you came into the world of being, a ladder was placed before you that you might escape." Most people don't realize what a wide variety of possibilities there are among meditative practices. Perhaps because of mass advertising, they've come to identify meditation with a specific practice, like sitting with your eyes closed to repeat mantra, as in the TM technique, or facing a blank wall to empty your mind, as in Zazen. The choice of methods available to help you gain inner freedom is actually quite diverse. There are many, many methods and groups to choose from, besides the well-known names. People sometimes are turned off by meditation when they begin with a method that is too hard for them. It helps to use a method which uses your natural tendencies, and so reinforces a positive attitude. At the outset, choose a method that harmonizes with what you're already good at, a method that interests you. Follow it until you feel a strengthened connection to a quietness of mind, to a meditative awareness, to God. Look at your life and see what has really turned you on. Perhaps you're very athletic. To sit motionless for an hour would be to fight your body. Instead, you might begin with Aikido or Kung Fu, and then go on to Tai Chi or some other moving meditation. If you're more sedentary or scholarly, you might start by reading Krishnamurti or Buddhist doctrine and practicing Vipassana meditation. An emotional person might find these practices too dry and be drawn instead to Sufi dancing or to singing or chanting. These are also forms of meditation. As your meditation develops, you may find yourself drawn back to the methods you avoided when you began. You may get frustrated because the fire is not hot enough and you want to move faster than easier methods permit. So you work with one method after the next until all aspects, heart, mind, and body, are balanced. If you begin with one of them, sooner or later you will probably want to integrate the others as well. It makes no difference which technique you start with. Try to sense what you are ready for and what you need. Above all, be honest with yourself. A useful tactic is to pick a method that feels right and do it for 2 weeks. During this trial run, agree with yourself, I will treat all my negative reactions to this form of meditation as merely thought forms prompted by my ego to keep me from taking it seriously. I will suspend judgment, criticism, and doubt. At the end of the 2 weeks, you're free to evaluate the method. Or give yourself 3 months. Or 6 months. If you've never done any meditation before, you can try one right now, unless, of course, you're driving an automobile. First of all, quiet down a bit and find a comfortable seat. Your favorite armchair will do, or if you want to sit cross-legged, try that. I'd like to guide you through this meditation for a few minutes. Then, if you wish, you can turn the tape recorder off and try it on your own. Sit up as straight as you can without making yourself uncomfortable. Sooner or later, you'll want to learn to sit with your back straight and your head, neck, and chest in a line. For the moment, just get really comfortable. Now, as you sit comfortably, your mind wanders. It turns to fantasies, memories. You think, what is this about, this meditation? What am I doing? If you don't hold on to any of these thoughts, but just let them keep flowing by, you're already in the act of meditation. This is it. You're doing it. But one of these thoughts may grab you and lead you off into plans, fantasies, memories, or problem solving. Then you're just thinking, not meditating. Here's a way you can keep from getting too lost in your thoughts. See your thoughts go by as if they were autumn leaves floating down a stream. But focus on the stream. The leaves drift by, being moved this way and that by the eddying waters. On some there are drops of water that glisten in the sunlight. Let the leaves, the thoughts float by, but keep your attention on the water itself. Your mind may dwell on a sound, a memory, a plan, or any of 1,000 things. When you notice your mind clinging to any of these leaves, very gently bring it back to the stream, back to the water flowing. Let the leaves float by. Don't get angry because your attention got caught, for that anger is just another leaf. Don't get frustrated because your attention will get caught thousands of times. Each time, very gently but firmly bring it back to the flowing water. This is the beginning of the quiet mind. Now, turn off this machine and try the sitting meditation for a few minutes on your own. Sitting quietly with eyes closed is only one of many ways to meditate. People can meditate while dancing, chanting the names of God, while making a cup of tea, or during practically any activity. And for those who meditate with eyes closed, there is a wide variety of inner practices. It is not what you do with your body, but what you do with your mind that counts in meditation. A root skill in all meditation practice is concentration. the meditator learns to keep the mind fixed on a specific task or object and lets distraction go by, no matter which technique is used. This skill is simple in definition, but takes great patience to develop in practice. To begin developing concentration, you need simply pick some object, thought, or part of the body and fix your mind on it for a given length of time. When your mind wanders, return your focus gently but firmly to the object of your meditation. Once you develop even a little concentration, which happens after a relatively short period of meditation, you will find it enhances all other methods of spiritual practice. This training in one-pointedness of mind is the first step in learning not to cling. The goal of meditation is to free your awareness from its identification with your senses and thoughts. Your awareness permeates everything, but clings to nothing. Try these directions for mindfulness of breathing, a basic concentration practice. When you're ready to meditate, close your eyes and bring your attention to the motion of your breath as it enters and leaves your nostrils. Keep your focus at the nostrils, noting the full passage of each in-breath and out-breath from beginning to end. Don't follow the breath into your lungs or out into the air. Just watch it flow in and out at the tip of the nostrils. If you can, notice the subtle sensations of the breath as it comes and goes. Be aware of each in-breath and out-breath as it passes by the nostrils. Just as a doorman watches each person who comes and goes through a door. Don't try to control your breath. Simply watch it. Fast or slow, shallow or deep. The nature of the breath does not matter. Your full attention to it is what counts. If you have trouble keeping your mind on the breath, count each one up to 10, then start over again at 1. Or to anchor your mind on your breath, you can occasionally make a strong, deliberate inhalation and exhalation. Then let your breath return to its normal rate. Whenever you realize you're thinking about something else, return your awareness to your breath. Don't try to fight off thoughts, just let them go. If sounds distract you, do the same. Let them be and simply start watching your breath again. If aches or itches bother you, slowly move or shift to ease them if you must, but keep your mind on breathing while you do it. At this point, you may want to turn off the machine and try this meditation on the breath by yourself. A word, a name of God, or a spiritual phrase that is repeated over and over again is known as a mantra. The one you're hearing now, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, is a mantra that was recorded at one of my lectures. The practice of mantra is an effective way to concentrate your mind. But as important as concentrating your mind is what you concentrate upon. Although the mind can focus on anything, only certain words work as mantra. A mantra must connect you with the sacred. Most of them focus you on God through repetition of a divine name. A mantra provides a boat with which you can float through your thoughts unattached, entering more and more subtle realms. It is a boat that steers itself to a distant spiritual shore. The use of mantra sets up one thought, one wave that repeats over and over again, dislodging your attachment to all other thoughts, until they are like birds soaring by. For example, you can quietly or silently repeat the Sanskrit mantra, Ram, a name of God. Just repeat Ram, 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 Ram. A billboard goes by and disappears into Ram, Ram, Ram. If a passenger in your car asks what you were doing, you might tell him, I'm saying Ram, 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 instead of I'm taking my foot off the accelerator. All you're thinking of consciously is the mantra, while the driving is taken care of automatically. In the same way, you begin to see your life from the detached vantage point of the mantra. Although groups like TM recommend that beginners not meditate more than 20 minutes twice daily, I have found it useful to sit quietly and do nothing else but practice mantra for longer periods. You can work concentratedly with mantra for an extended time, 3 or 4 hours, or even longer. In this way, you will become intimate with the sound of the mantra, and you will begin to surrender into it, to merge. Offer all your thoughts as a sacrifice to the mantra. If you think, this isn't going to work, take that thought and imagine yourself offering it to the mantra, perhaps on a golden tray with a silk handkerchief, incense, and a candle. Offer it as you continue to repeat the mantra, undisturbed. Keep offering your thoughts, your doubts, discomforts, boredom, even your sore throat. Later, when you have gotten up to go about the business of the day, keep remembering the mantra. Invite it to stay with you. You can coordinate the mantra with your steps as you walk, or with any rhythmic activity. No matter what else you do, keep doing the mantra. If you're typing, each time you hit the carriage return, Ram. If you're talking, each time there is a pause, a silent Ram. One very effective and widely used method of remembering a mantra is the counting of beads with a rosary or mala. Any easily handled bead will do. You pass the beads across your fingers, bead by bead, with each repetition of the mantra. If your mind wanders, the activity of the hand or the touch of a bead will remind you of the mantra. The rhythm becomes more compelling, the experience more total, as your body works in harmony with the mind. Also, you can use the beads to keep track of how many times you've repeated the mantra as part of your daily meditation routine. The number of repetitions is, however, not as important as the effort to make each repetition one done with full awareness. As you practice, you will notice that when your mind is calm, the mantra will be delicate and subtle. When your mind is agitated, the mantra will be strong and gross as is needed. Just keep bringing your mind back to the mantra and let it make you more and more still. One example of a mantra is Aum, the one basic sound or totality of all sound. Aum Mane Padme Hum is a Tibetan mantra. One meaning of it is, the all is a precious jewel resting in the middle of the lotus flower, which blooms in my heart. Reading scripture, praying, and communing with nature all are forms of contemplation, which is another style of meditation. You should read enough of the thought underlying your spiritual practices to understand what you're doing. Use this study as seeds for contemplation. Collect a series of books written or spoken by beings who are liberated or attuned to higher states of consciousness. Each day in the morning or evening, open a book at random and read until you find a paragraph or a sentence with which to work. reflect on it throughout the day. When you remember, see your own life through the lens of the passage. Through this practice, in time, comes a transformation of your perception, your ways of understanding the nature of reality. Nature is the easiest object of contemplation, for our surroundings can inspire and lead us into the quiet unity of all creation. Soma Krishna, a spiritual teacher, suggests a number of ways of imaging to open yourself to nature. These are her words. Devise meditations in which you draw nature into your own being through your senses. You can experiment with some of these. Sit with your back pressed against the trunk of the mightiest tree you can find and pull its strength into your spine with each breath. Lose awareness of where the tree trunk and your back become one. Then thank the tree. Rest an evergreen branch on the top of your head and let its power pour into you as though to fill an empty vessel. The overflow bathes you in green mist and you are renewed. Hold a rock in your hand. Feel its texture, weight, and reconstruct its geological history. How old is it? Did it travel from deep within the earth or from space as a meteorite before it reached your hand? Become that rock. Feed on the smell of fresh-cut grass, even the lawn, drawing the odor into your nose and mouth. Let it nourish body and spirit. Contemplation can also be free-form. Henry David Thoreau described it in his book Walden. He wrote, "Sometimes I sat in my sunny doorway from sunrise till noon, wrapped in a reverie midst the pines and hickories and sumacs, in undisturbed solitude and stillness, while the birds sang around or flitted noiselessly through the house, until by the sun falling in at my west window, or the noise of some traveler's wagon on the distant highway, I was reminded of the pass of time. I grew in those seasons like corn in the night, and they were far better than any work of the hands would have been. They were not time subtracted from my life, but so much over and above my usual allowance. I realized what the Orientals mean by contemplation and the forsaking of work. To some extent, and at rare intervals, even I am a yogi. The reverie of which Thoreau speaks just happens to us. To let your mind float around an idea or image in a relaxed but focused way is the most familiar kind of contemplation. From communing with nature and the world outside, we move inward again to a different meditation method. In directed visualizations, you bring to mind a mental image on which you meditate. Visualization resembles our familiar habits of fantasies, daydreams, and imaginings, but brings discipline to them. Unlike ordinary daydreams, spiritual visualization exercises focus your mind on a holy image. The power of this method is that it enables you to find the qualities of the imaged beings within yourself. Here are some visualizations developed by Soma Krishna. Before we begin, make sure you won't be disturbed for a few minutes. Sit with a straight back and close your eyes. Now breathe deeply, in and out, from your heart center. Breathe as if your heart itself had a nose. Do this for a few minutes until this area of your body feels warm and expanded. Rise up to your throat center and breathe in and out of this center until it feels alive. Come up to your third eye area and breathe in and out. Rise into your crown center on the top of your head, breathing in and out vertically. Then return your awareness and breathe into your heart center. Feel a connection between your heart and your head. Be conscious of the energy flow that unites them. Again, breathe into your heart and visualize a tiny Buddha seated there, radiant, perfect. He embodies all virtues, all strengths. He radiates equanimity, compassion, all-enduring love. With each breath, the tiny Buddha glows brighter and begins to expand. Follow this expansion with your breath and flow of attention, feeding the figure until it fills your entire heart center. Keep breathing life into this Buddha self until it overflows your heart center and slowly fills every part of your being, every cell of your body, until you and the Buddha are one. As the Buddha, there is no more striving. You're there. Just pause before the next stage. As the Buddha, now begin to breathe into your Buddha heart, drawing in light with each breath, converting it into love in your heart, and sending it out of your heart to the world. With each breath, your heart glows brighter. Feel the love stream out of Buddha's heart. Keep breathing in light and sending out love, as the love emanation from your heart becomes a continuous river that flows out to cover the whole universe. Buddha's work is finished for now. Slowly, slowly start to draw into your heart center once more, until the luminous figure fills it. As the Buddha body contracts, it becomes even more brilliant, leaving you with a fiery radiance in your heart for the rest of the day. In your dealings with the world this day, remember that part of you is still the Buddha. Though most meditation is done sitting still, you can also meditate as you move. The flow of energy in your body, its stance and positions, the way you walk, all can be meditation. In Hatha Yoga, for example, there is a set of postures called asanas. Each embodies a specific attitude and relationship to the universe. It's as if you're changing the receiving channel of your body by changing positions. If at this moment you put your hands together in prayer, you can feel as you hold them there the quality of a prayerful attitude. On the other hand, if you make a fist and hold it out menacingly, you can feel the way the fist accentuates a threatening attitude. So it is that each body position makes a statement of one kind or another. Just in the arching of your back, you change the movements of energy throughout the body. Hatha Yoga postures open the energies of the body. Each position becomes a meditative posture that allows you to tune in to a different space. There are also hand positions called mudras. They reflect various states of consciousness. If you study statues of the Buddha, you will notice that his hands are in various positions. Each of these is a mudra. In Tai Chi, a flow of mudras develops into a moving meditation. While Tai Chi appears to be a continuous movement, it is actually a series of tiny stops, like a movie in slow motion. Tai Chi, like all Oriental martial arts, is a spiritual path in itself. Indeed, Bodhidharma, who brought Buddhism to China from India, is credited with inventing the martial art karate, kung fu in Chinese. When the way of the martial arts is pursued to its highest point, the practitioner loses all trace of his ego in the perfection of his movements. To reach this point requires as intense a self-discipline as any sitting meditation. Still another tradition that uses movement to develop a meditative awareness is Sufi dancing. The dervishes are fabled for their whirls, but there are many other kinds of dances and walks the Sufis use. In most of these, the movement is keyed to a chant, the combination of motion and prayer focusing the dancer's mind and body on God. For a master of Hatha Yoga, Tai Chi, or Sufi dancing, movement is stillness. Prayer, sitting with a picture of a holy being, singing to the beloved, all of these are devotional meditative practices, the way of the heart. Devotion balances the more impersonal wisdom that comes from most kinds of meditation. It allows us to cultivate our humanity while we transform our consciousness. This outflowing of the heart toward the object of our devotion facilitates most other methods as well, through the flow of loving energy. There are lower and higher stages of devotion. In the lower, you romanticize the journey. You merely shift the focus of your melodrama from marketplace to temple. The images in the temple itself, your participation in worship, the love, say, of Christ, of Krishna, of Buddha, become preoccupations. You want to think about, talk to, play with, open your heart to them. This level is romantic. You have fallen in love with your vehicle for going to God. But as your love grows and your beloved becomes the whole object of your life, you tune to a deeper place within yourself. Then the emotional, romantic qualities of devotion give way to a new kind of love, where finally you see all people as the beloved. The names of God or praises of God can be sung as well as spoken. Often when your heart wells up, singing expresses the fullness of your love for God. As you sing the name repeatedly, the rhythm and melody fan your emotions. If this ecstasy is heightened, distinctions begin to fall away until only love, only the beloved remains. Kirtan, the singing of mantra, is an old and revered technique used in India and other parts of Asia. While kirtan uses music as a vehicle, aesthetic or musical ability are not the main concern. The ability to sing beautifully is enjoyable but not necessary. What matters is singing from the heart. In India, often it is the old man with no teeth, a raspy voice, and hacking cough, who blows everyone away because he knows to whom he's singing. And the beauty of his contact with God is moving and powerful. Perhaps at some time you have sat quietly by the side of a river. At first there is one big rush of sound. Listening quietly, you begin to hear a multitude of subtle sounds. In that peacefulness and silence of mind, you experience precisely what is happening. It is the same when you listen to yourself. At first, all you can hear is one self or I, but slowly this self is revealed as a mass of changing elements, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and images, all illuminated simply by listening. In mindfulness, you are aware of what happens in each moment. You remain alert, not allowing yourself to become forgetful. When you develop mindfulness and concentration together, you achieve a balance of mind. As this penetrating awareness develops, it reveals many aspects of the world and of who you are. You see with a clear and direct vision that everything, including yourself, is flowing, in flux, in transformation. There is not a single element of your mind or body that is stable. This wisdom comes not from any particular state, but from close observation of your own mind.